In Liverpool shipyards and Hammersmith pubs, working men were secretly stockpiling massive quantities of arms. Lorries were jolting across the roads of England and Scotland with secret cargoes of guns and ammunition. Young men were slipping quietly away from their homes to go across the water and fight for Ulster. Because for many people, the loss of Britain's first colony would be the beginning of the end for that great imperial power, Britannia. On the 20th of March 1914, British troops based near Dublin were ordered to prepare to move north to Ulster. The commander of British forces in Ireland, Lieutenant General Sir Arthur Paget, was worried by the orders because many of his men were from Protestant Unionist families. Paget sent an urgent secret telegram to the War Office. All but 2 officers resigning their commissions today. Fear men will refuse to move. From London, silence. Paget sent another telegram. Brigadier and 57 officers prefer to accept dismissal if ordered north. For a large swathe of the British Army in Ireland, this was close to outright mutiny. The government sent a battle fleet to the Ulster coast. If it comes to rebellion and civil war, Winston Churchill said, the government will fight to win it. In the end, the rebellion was stopped dead in its tracks, not by troops, not by battleships, but by the Great War. Within weeks, the men of the Ulster Volunteer Force would be reorganized into the 36th Ulster Division, and their action in battle would be so heroic, the scale of their slaughter so overwhelming, that the idea of betraying their memory by imposing a single united Ireland disappeared from most British minds. On June the 28th, 1914, 1,500 miles away in Sarajevo, a single shot rang round the world. A Serbian nationalist had assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the starting pistol for Armageddon. The Austro-Hungarians declared war on the Serbs. The pro-Serb Russians declared war on them. And suddenly, half Europe was mobilizing. Churchill wrote to his wife Clementine, "Everything tends towards catastrophe and collapse. I am interested, geared up and happy. Is it not horrible to be built like that? The preparations have a hideous fascination for me." Right to the end, Herbert Asquith was working through the night to preserve peace. After midnight on the 1st of August, he drove to Buckingham Palace. Asquith said, "The poor king was hauled out of his bed to appeal to his cousin, Tsar Nicholas II, to stop the Russian mobilization. King George appeared in a brown dressing gown over his nightshirt and with copious signs of having been aroused from his beauty sleep. He topped the diplomatic letter, 'My dear Nicky,' and signed it, 'Georgie.' But Russian mobilization continued. Later that day, Germany declared war on Russia. Asquith called an emergency cabinet meeting. He'd been told that 3/4 of his own MPs were against intervention in Europe. Churchill stood firm, but his great friend and ally Lloyd George was threatening to resign from the government rather than vote for war. Lloyd George and Churchill spent a lot of the meeting scribbling hasty notes and throwing them across the table at each other. After it was over, Lloyd George tore most of them up, but his mistress and secretary, Frances Stevenson, gathered together the pieces and she kept them. And what they show is Churchill exerting all his eloquence and cajoling charm to win his ally round. I am deeply attached to you and have followed your instinct and guidance for nearly 10 years. And again, pray God, it is our whole future, comrades or opponents. And again, all the rest of our lives, we shall be opposed. Lloyd George's replies are much terser, almost coquettish in their brevity, and fewer, but they do show that he was coming round. Like most radical liberals, Lloyd George had always been a patriotic imperialist. In the end, he believed that the two democracies, Britain and France, would have to stand together. Awful, but necessary. On the street, it all seemed simpler. Time to teach the Hun a lesson. The Daily Mail's old goose-stepping Germans would turn out to be the ghosts from a terrible future. An anti-war demonstration in Trafalgar Square on Sunday, August the 2nd, was a damp squib. Very late the following night, Asquith heard a roaring sound half a mile away. It was the crowd cheering the king, and he found himself disgusted. He wrote to his lover, Venetia Stanley. War, or anything that seems likely to lead to war, is always popular with the London mob. On the 3rd of August, at 6:45 in the evening, Germany declared war on France. German troops were gathering on the Belgian border. The Foreign Secretary, Edward Grey, informed the German ambassador that if Germany invaded Belgium, Britain would go to war. Armed guards suddenly appeared at British railway junctions and ports. Britannia's home fleet, lights doused, slipped down the channel to take up battle stations in the North Sea. The British ambassador in Berlin packed his bags and hurried home. At dusk, on the 3rd of August, Edward Grey was standing by a window in his room at the Foreign Office, looking down at the lamplighters going about their business. And he said, "The lamps are going out all over Europe, and we shall not see them lit again in our lifetime." At 11 p.m. on the 4th of August 1914, Britain declared war on Germany, and in doing so, committed herself to the greatest bloodletting the world had ever seen. In the next programme, anti-German riots, trench warfare, the first Blitz, and the dictatorship of David Lloyd George.
20 years after it shattered into a million souvenirs, BBC Two remembers the ugly concrete obstacle that split a city and divided its families. Stories of spies and double agents in the secret life of the Berlin Wall, Saturday, 8:05.